Brought to you by the Rugby Outlet Mall, equipping you for freedom and connection through rugby. Find out more at rugbyoutletmall.com. Yo, what's really good, everybody? I hope you guys have had a great weekend. What a crazy weekend in terms of celebrity deaths and everything. But you know what? Most importantly, welcome to Grow Rugby. My name is GiftTime Bailu. I love having you here. And yeah, this has been a wild weekend. In good ways, World Rugby put together their initiative to be able to establish more women coaches in the game. We have the fact that we have, draft predictions coming up with MLR draft coming up soon. And we have, the rugby world is still going through its own readjustment, trying to figure out what exactly is needed to be able to make sure that this post-corona world establishes itself. But then on the flip side, yeah, we got like mad celebrity death. They're not rugby related, but these are still like significant. Little Richard and Betty Wright and Jerry Stiller, and it just keeps going. Like, this has been weird, but big plus. I know everybody in the U.S. The U.S. is starting to open up bit by bit, going across the state. It means though that we have to have our masks whenever we're going into public areas. We have to make sure that we are conscious of our surroundings and make sure that our distancing is well until we can find out what happens with this whole corona stuff. But it looks like at least bit by bit we're having openings. It's uncertain what's going to happen with rugby because, either the crowdless stadiums, I don't know if that will work for here in the States simply because the money's not being made off of TV deals, so we're going to have to be very wary about what happens when it comes to seventh season over the summer, if it even occurs. USA Rugby right now is it's readjusting all its bylaws and stuff like that, readjusting how it is, its divisions in what its overall dictation should be. It's going to be interesting to see what happens next, but things have to be forced, and frankly, for this guy, I'm glad to see that we have to do some innovation within the rugby world, but hopefully it just does not continue any negatives or anything significant like happens in the pop culture world, so it's going to be interesting. But for what it's worth, we got a great guest for you today. This one is one that I really enjoy talking with her. Charity Williams of the Canadian women's sevens team won the bronze back in 2016. She is a dynamic player, fast as hell, really awesome to talk to. Great story behind her, and just a dope person overall to have a conversation with. It was really informative, being able to kind of see just the mindset and the dynamic of a player who kind of just was whirlwinded into this world without realizing exactly how fast and just how much it's taken to kind of get into development. So it's definitely something that I think you'll really enjoy listening to. It was a good, I can't even say much. It was a good conversation. We have a good set of conversations. And this conversation was definitely sponsored by the Rugby Outlet Mall. And if you guys can see right here on the video, we have this, it's actually a cutting board made by my guy, James Lagone. He's going to be putting this up in the Rugby Outlet Mall store, so we're going to have it for you soon. And there's going to be stuff more like this and more that you guys can use for memorabilia. Always, as with the Rugby Outlet Mall is, trying to equip you for freedom and network via rugby. We want to make sure that you have what you need to be able to use your rugby life and lifestyle knowledge on and off the field in ways that you will be able to connect, whether it's through cultural connection, whether it's through game connection. We want to make sure, whether it's even economic, we want to make sure that we have you set up so that you can prep and be prepared. I guess that's kind of saying the same thing for what the world will have to offer and what you can bring as a rugby or as a rugger at least. So rugbyoutletmall.com, and we got a brand new coupon code for you for all GiftTime Rugby Network, HBCU Rugby, and travel stuff. That is Grow Rugby. Simple as that. Just the name of the podcast. Grow Rugby. GREAUX Rugby. And it's going to be 20% off all GiftTime Rugby, HBCU Rugby Classic, and travel stuff that is available. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Definitely check it out because we got some stuff coming up. Oh my gosh. Yo, the documentary for the trip to Asia is about to come out soon. You guys are going to want to watch it. I've seen the previews of it. I mean, I experienced it because I was there, but you guys want to see it because this is a story that I think the rugby world absolutely needs. And maybe not even needs. It's just in this post-corona world where we're having to now separate, like to see that we can still connect and find ways to connect in ways that rugby, we may not always realize through rugby, and just in general, it's definitely one to be able to watch. So I'm going to let you guys know when we have an announced release date, but I just want you to be prepared. Just want you to be prepared. So Rugby Outlet Mall, coupon code GROW Rugby, 20% off all GiftTime Rugby Network and HBC Rugby Classic and travel gear on the website. So, yeah. So needless to say, all right, no more talking. I'm not going to hold you guys up forever. I want to take you to Charity Williams, Canadian Olympic bronze medalist in rugby. Let's go.
Grow rugby, 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 grow rugby. Let's go to rock.
All right, welcome everybody. I love what we have today. We got another VIP guest for us today, coming out of the great North, the cap of the U.S. Third bronze medalist for the Olympics in her first try. Shows you the beast mode. Canada's only Charity Williams. Charity, thank you so much for just being willing to take the time.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much for having me.
So, I have to say, I've 2016 Rio Olympics.
Yeah.
So much game changing in that. I think that was that was obviously the first time I think I ever saw you play. And then I think I've seen you over the course of the last 4 years, but definitely the last 2 years playing within Canada Sevens, playing at USA Sevens, etc. But you kind of built yourself into a little dynamo over the last 4 years, almost like that bronze medal just made it gold,
Yeah, the last 4 years have been crazy. Like, I remember when I went to the Olympics, I was the youngest on the team, and I was like just lost. Like, I didn't know what I was doing. I was so happy to be there, but I was like, how do you play? Like, I don't know what's going on here. Like, I was just so lucky to be there. And the last 4 years I've just been building and building. And now I'm kind of this like player that, like I make a big impact on the field. And it's been such a cool journey.
Yo, like it's the wildest thing because I've always said that sometimes life has this tendency to feel more movie-like than the actual movies. And then you have like a situation like that and you're like, yo, this is the ultimate movie. Like, yo, where's the cameras at?
Yeah.
Just right now.
Yeah, seriously. Like, sometimes I just can't believe like this is a life that I'm living. I'm so blessed. It's unbelievable.
Yo, I love it. Well, look, let's kind of put this into the origin story. As any superhero, I like to make sure that there is the proper origin story. We're gonna Uncle Ben this a little bit, but for you, kind of what started you into this rugby journey? Like, what was that catalyst for you?
Well, like I was a gymnast for most of my life, and when I was around 14, I was like, okay, like I want to go to the Olympics more than anything, and gymnastics was my sport. And I realized at a young age that like it wasn't really going to happen for me. Like I did not have the skills, and I accepted that, and I moved on.
Wait. So, quick question: when you don't have the skills, because I've also realized that the skills in terms of Olympic and from regular person to Olympic gymnast, and then everybody says they don't have the skills. So was it like you went into the air and then you tried to do like 32 flips and you were only able to get like 29 of them and you were like, yo, I can't do this?
Yeah, after 29, I was like, no.
This was like, man, my cap.
Gymnastics is it's such a crazy sport, and like you have to be super dialed in, and you kind of have to put like all of your time and like everything into it. And I just, I didn't have the resources or really much growing up, and so it was just kind of like it wasn't really in the books for me. But yeah, so I found out that rugby was going to be an Olympic sport in 2016, and I was like, I have to start playing the sport. And I went to practice, and what was it? I think I went to a practice. We had like a week of practice, and then we had a game, and I made my first try in like the first like minute of the game, and I was like, this is awesome. This is incredible. I love it. Let's do it.
Look, whenever you did that, all right, was there this moment in your thought you were like, you know what? Yo, this is cake. Like, I don't even, like, this was already meant for me. Like, it was already called my name. Is this easy? What? Yeah,
like, there's, like, especially back in high school, like, if you are, like, mediocre at sport, you're the best. Like, everyone is just, at, like, the level is just so crazy in high school. So I had, like, this, like, little bit of athletic ability, and all of a sudden I was the star of my team and just crushing it. So, like, back then I thought, oh, yeah, this is a walk in the park. Like, I got it. And then, I graduated up to the national team. I was like, oh, my God. Just, like, thrown into the deep end. It was like learning rugby all over again. It was crazy.
Oh, wait, so I read somewhere that you were, like, 16 whenever you got onto the national team initially.
Yeah, I was really young.
Yo, no. There's really young. Oh, I was like 20 years old, and I was like, no. You were a baby. That is wild. Like,
yeah, it was really crazy.
So, like, what was that process? Because, I mean, we're talking about a massive jump here. And, coming from high school, I know Canada has really great high school programs. Mm-hmm. But to go, hey, I am I think, 14, 15-year-old high school player to, oh, yeah, I'm going to start running with the international people. These ones that have been, like, working for, like, a decade to try and get to this point.
I was, what? A lot of the times I was in the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
I did work really hard. I loved it. I was passionate. But, yeah, I played in high school, and I did a season of provincial rugby for Ontario. And in that, we only had pretty much one tournament that, envelops the entire year. And in the summer, we had that tournament in Vancouver. And I got scouted by the national coach, which is John Tate, and at the time, our S&C coach, which was Dana Agar-Newman. And they did some tests. I think I did like a 40-meter sprint. I did some jumps, and that's honestly it. And they were like, okay, let's go. I was like, oh my gosh, okay. So
like,
I never even played sevens before, ever.
Really? So everything had been 15. So it was just, I have to assume that it just felt like a lot more open space that you had.
I definitely was able to run more and like showcase a lot more of my skills. But it was like, I had no idea what was going on. Like, even when I got scouted to the team, like, I still didn't really understand the gravity of what they were telling me. They're like, hey, like, you're going to get on a plane, move to Victoria, you're going to be carted. And I was like, what? Like, what does that even mean? So nuts.
That's so interesting because it's one of those things, like, we always talk about it here in the States. Like, there's always been this concept of the pay to play system, where it's like, yo, if you want to go to the camps, pay this amount and you get to go to the camps. You go to the next level, you pay this amount. And it becomes so much more of if you have the resources as opposed to if you have the talent. So it kind of pulls away from, I think sometimes from how deep it can go. So to be able to say that you were able to have that opportunity, and I'm also making the assumption that you didn't have to pay necessarily to go to each of the camps per se. or something to that effect. I don't know how Canada works. I don't know how you guys work up there.
Yeah, we it actually rugby like at the like lower levels is actually a little bit expensive, and like I was lucky enough that I have never played to play, but a lot of my teammates growing up and going through the ranks have paid, and the only reason I didn't pay was because I literally could not, and I was like I told the coaches like either you help me pay or you pay for me or I literally cannot play for you. And I got a lot of people stuck their neck out for me and, you know, sponsored me and helped me out a lot. And so, you know, it's tough. Like a lot of kids don't have the resources, don't have people looking out for them, don't have anything, and miss so many opportunities. And I was so lucky to have, you know, somebody helping me and letting me like level up each time, because I wouldn't have been here if I didn't have those people, because I definitely could not have afforded to play rugby in Canada. Like, so yeah.
And so you know what, and it brings it to that next point of where it always comes down to. It's like how our opportunities and networks are able to be developed. But I'm gonna get to that a little bit later. But I still want to kind of touch through this legitimately miraculous journey that just occurred. That clearly, now I understand, was supposed to be compelled. Apparently, this was you were predestined for this. So we're gonna jump into this.
Oh my god, it's nuts. Like so from the first time I remember remembering anything, I wanted to be an Olympian. So like my childhood was absolutely ridiculous. Like there's so many things happened, and it made me the person I am today. But like looking back, it doesn't make any sense how I got here. But I feel like I always knew from forever that I would be here. So no matter what I went through, like my journey never changed. Like I never kind of like fell off or anything. I always wanted it so much that regardless of what happened, I ended up at the same spot, which is it's like nuts.
No, so I've been doing this rugby media journey for the last 7 years or so, like that. And you never like you said, you never realize exactly how it's going to end up ending. But you know, there's like, okay, like for me, it was like, I know I want to do something. One was in business, but it was like, I want to do something in sports. I don't know what it is that I want to do. Everything has led me towards what would be football or track or anything like that. Okay. But then you end up finding this weird detour, and in this situation, it was rugby. And it's like, okay, all right, it's a weird sport, whatever, all right, it exists. And then, like, it just kind of takes you in this turn, and you're like, I didn't see that coming. But like you said, you find yourself, you're like, nah, this is where I wanted to be. I didn't really see this would be the process towards it. So, you know, for you, like, you're getting into this national level. You are legitimately not like, who was the next oldest person? And I'm going to harp on this because of the fact of how wild this is. Who was the next oldest person that you had when you entered into the team?
Well, the next person was actually, I think we were the same age or a year older, but she was like not really with the team for the first year. She went to a private school, like off. So she was around, but not really. So I was the only one who was really there full time with the girls, because I was still in high school, but they put my school, like I was in a sports school. So I trained half the day and went to school half the day.
Yeah.
But for the most part, like most of the girls on the team were a good, like 10 years my senior. Like my captain, Kurt, like right now I think she just turned 31 or something like that. So like it is pretty nuts. And like now the youngest girl on the team, I think, is like 17 or something. I don't even know. Who knows?
That's impressive. Does it feel weird now being on the other side, being like, yo, I'm the older one? Like,
yeah, it does feel well. It's okay. So my coach and all of the older girls still look at me as that 16-year-old girl, which is so annoying. But everyone else is like, oh my god, I want to be just like Charity, and I'm like, yeah. And everyone else is like, okay, chill. I remember when she couldn't pass.
It's like, look, she's forever little sister.
Yeah,
calm yourself, all right?
Yeah.
You know, it's wild. Again, you see that changeover, and you know it's a maturing process. So you going into you come into that first game. What was your first international game like for you? Because obviously high school, out the blocks, it seemed like you were able to take it.
Yeah. Oh my god, my first game, that would have been in like 2015. So I was on the team for a year before I traveled with the girls, and I think it was in Brazil. And I don't really remember much, but I do remember being very, very scared. My coach actually started me for a game, and I remember we were in the locker room, and he was telling us the lineup, and he said my name, and I literally was like, "Are you sure? Like me? Like I'm gonna start in the game? Like what?" And I just remember being so afraid, and I think he actually left me on there the entire game, and I was like, I was so nervous. But the girls were always really supportive, and like, you know, they had my back out there, but I just remember being like, what, like, how am I even here? I remember the clock, like they count down before you kick off for, I think it's like 10 seconds. I should be like, okay, like, do I have any time to run? No. Okay. Well, let's do it. Let's just get it done. Get it over with. Your first game. You can do this. Like,
just make it happen. Do you feel like that's kind of been your mindset within the whole process? Kind of just like, wow, I can't believe this is happening. What's going on?
Yeah.
Screw it. Let's make it happen.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. Now it's definitely more of like, okay, this is where I belong. This is what I'm doing. This is my life. But at the beginning, it was just, everything happened so quickly, and I was so young, and I was so just new to rugby in general. And I was like, how did I get here so quickly? Like, I made a plan in high school, an 8-year plan to be on the team. And I was in it within 2 years. And I was like, what? I was like, oh my God, I'm not prepared for this. Like,
oh no. And you know, it's hey, it's what we can't control time. Yeah. Sometimes it takes way longer than we expect. Sometimes it's just like, okay, we're there. But so the other thing that comes into it then is, not only are you on the team, now when it comes to travel, now had you been able to travel prior to that? I mean, outside of the Canada area, like.
Yeah, no. Before I moved, like I was a member on the team. I'd been to Jamaica only because I'm from there. I have family there and stuff, like once or twice. But
speed is making sense now.
Yeah, yeah. Comes from somewhere. But other than that, like I'd never seen any of the world, and all of a sudden I'm going to like a country every couple of months. I'm in a new country. Like, it's like, what the heck?
How did that change up your worldview? Because I feel like one thing that is, and I'll say this, Canadians travel far more than Americans do outside the country. But like, for your perspective of the world, like, what did international travel do, like in the myth and facts kind of portion, or did it have an impact at all in that manner?
Yeah, like the one thing I do know is it definitely made me feel more strongly towards like my home and just Canada in general. And I really appreciate everything that we're offered and given here. Even the people who don't have much still have so much more than all other countries. And that's something that I think people, you know, don't really realize how lucky they are to be born here. But other than that, like, it's crazy what the media puts in your head about other countries. And when you finally go there and you see these people and you see how they live, especially because we do play in a lot of in a lot of really poor, poverty-stricken countries, and you just see how these people are struggling, and like they need so much, and like you want to give so much, but like you literally can't. And it's like, it's so crazy. Like, I've never seen, especially when we go to like Dubai, it's like literally one of the richest countries in the world, but there's so much poverty there, and it's like unbelievable. Like, you just can't imagine how somebody could have so much and so little, like 20 feet away from each other.
The disparity is wild.
Yeah.
Disparity is absolutely wild.
Yeah, it's very crazy.
But so, you know, you get through this your first game, and you've matured into it. All right. Mm-hmm. So the process of you going from, hey, this is my first game 2015, and I have the Olympics in 2016.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Who are you?
Yeah, this is the thing, it was actually quite funny. It's funny now looking back, but it wasn't at the time. But I actually got cut from the team shortly after that first tournament. I went on one tournament that year in 2015, and I got cut like 2 months later. And I was like, no, like, this is not my story. Like, I am not ending here. And I mean, for the most part, the reason why I got let go is because I was really young. I didn't know any better, and I think I had such a hard time in my life previous that I just got on the team, I kind of like took a little bit of a break. Mentally, I think, and it really, and I wanted it so bad, but I was also really tired, and I was really young and not mature enough to be amongst all those, everyone who had been battling for so many years to be on that team. Right. So I think it just took me a little while before, like, I kind of, built my own confidence and whatever.
Essentially finding yourself, like.
Yeah, exactly. And it's so hard because you have to be like you get on this team and you're 16, but you're amongst people who are twice your age, and you just have to be ready. And it is kind of tough in that sense. Now we have a lot of programs, like Maple Leaf programs for girls and academy programs for girls coming out of high school to like kind of transition into that. Before it was like, okay, you're in it, like figure it out. And you're like, oh my God.
Let's go. Just rip the Band-Aid off. Let's go.
So yeah, I got let go, and I got let go, I think it was the Olympic year. I got let go, and I pretty much trained on my own and with one of my coaches, who was nice enough to, train me on his spare time. And I did that for 6 months, and then I got recarded in January, and like all of a sudden I was going to every tournament after that, and then I was selected to go to the Olympics, and it was like I was just kind of trying to get back on the team.
Right.
I wasn't like really thinking at that point that I was going to be an Olympian because I'd not been on the team previously, and it was just this crazy journey, and I was only 19 at the time, so I thought, yeah, it's probably not going to happen. And then it did, and I was like, holy crow, like this is the story of my life. Like,
make it happen is good, but that's the thing, like it is, and it's still early in the story, but it's just like, it's so interesting how much of it was situational. That's definitely one. We can't take it off the table, but force of will, like of just like, yo, I'm sorry, you guys are gonna have to deal with me. Like I'm not cut from the team. I'm momentarily taking a break from you guys so I can get myself together. But just know, you didn't cut me. I moved myself over there.
That is literally what happened, because so I got let go, and like a couple of girls got let go pretty much at the same time. And like within a week, I emailed my coach being like, I'm going to come back. Can I come join practices? And he was like, I guess. And so I like came to our practice once a week, and I had to get a job because obviously I wasn't getting paid anymore. So I was like working part-time, practicing. And then like little by little, he'd be like, okay, I need you to come to this practice and this practice. And then it would be like, I don't have any time to go to work anymore. So I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. But I ended up just like not, like, I think I moved in, I have some family out here, and I moved in with them because I couldn't pay rent. And I just practiced with the team all day without getting paid. And I just worked my butt off until I got recarded. And it was like the happiest moment. And then from then on, I've never taken a break. I've never given up. I've never, like there's just not been any time and any need. And I've never actually wanted to stop. I just got to keep going, I guess,
Oh, I love it. Because at that point, it's just like, yo, it's in your blood now. Now it's in your system. It's no longer, I have to do it. It's like, yo, this, I just do. I just do
exactly.
it. All right. So now you get to the Olympics, all right? Now we're changed. The stage has changed. Not only do you have the historical standpoint of first women's rugby team in the Olympics, but, I mean, let's call it, you're in the Olympics in Rio. You're kind of back where you started to begin with. Like, that's the weird part. Like, it all comes around full circle.
Yeah.
What was that stage like? Because from TV, obviously, we were excited as rugby fans to be able to see that event. But from being the girl who dreamed about being in the Olympics to now walking in the ring of circle, the ring of fire, where everybody starts walking.
The welcome parade or whatever it is.
The welcome parade. I like Ring of Fire. It feels so much more intense. Like you get But walking within that, now you are legitimately, at that moment, you are officially an Olympian. Regardless of whatever the results happen, you are an Olympian.
Yeah.
What was that psychologically like for you?
It was insane. I just like, it felt like my life had flashed before my eyes. Like I had every memory ever, and it was just like coming through in those moments, because every time something terrible happened or, I fell off my way or whatever, like I was just, I thought this is where I'm meant to be. And then I was there, and it was like, oh my God, like finally I've worked so hard for this. And I'm finally here. Yeah, it was just incredible. And like, the one thing I remember thinking is, like you said, like at this moment, regardless of what happens, I'm an Olympian and I will always be an Olympian no matter what. And my children can say that their mother was an Olympian. And I just think that is like the coolest thing. And it's like, it's always been something that I think about, like, honestly, all the time. Like, and I got this nice little ring that I wear on my finger every day, and it just reminds me. And I obviously have the Olympic tattoo because why not? But
it's real though. Like, yo, this is like, I feel like there's very few things that people can take from you. It's obviously your own experiences, your degrees, and if you get a freaking Olympic, you're an Olympic. I was gonna say, we're gonna be like, nah, she wasn't there. We're just gonna erase her. No, we got tape, all right? Yo, we got proof, but it's now become the echelon. By the way, I absolutely appreciate the fact that you have OLY at the end of your name on Instagram. Like everybody has the PhD, your MD, yo, you have OLY, and it is earned. It is earned. Like, I'll see it, and I'm like, yeah, no. But
I definitely, like, it at this point, like, it's not that it defines me, but it is a huge part of my life, and it's been a huge part of my life since I can remember anything. And so, like, having it, like, I like, not that I, shout to the rooftops, but I like to represent myself as an Olympian, as someone who's, worked so hard towards one goal for pretty much my entire life. So I do like, it's just awesome.
I can see it in the face, like, yo, that's it's real when it's that good emotion. You can feel. I can already see it in the chest, just welling. Oh, but yeah, it's real. So, you're in that moment, and I know even previously you may have played against some of these rugby players, but in that moment, you're talking about literally the best of the best in the world. Yeah. You're in that consideration. We're talking the Portia Woodmans. We're talking Charlotte Kasich. We're talking, oh my gosh, I'm blanking on names. But we're talking about Australia, England, like all these powerful, strong, dope rugby players, and you're there. What is it like being down there? Because, look, a lot of people have an inference of what they expect from rugby. And I think, especially from a women's standpoint, I'll put it this way. I think, kind of backtracking for me, 2014, 2013, I think, was the first time I saw international women's rugby. They had it here in Atlanta. Well, here in Atlanta. Over in Atlanta. I don't represent Atlanta, but over in Atlanta. And so, like, when you saw it, it was like, I don't get how anybody underestimates this game. I've never seen anybody, so many people, like, even in the guys' game, I can see sometimes people lagging. Like, it's whether it's a competition or whether there's a lag where it's like, I don't have to do that much. Yeah. But whenever I'm watching the women's game, there's no doubt that, one, everybody puts everything into it, but two, like, everybody's fast. Yeah. Everybody's crisp. Everybody's tackles hard. And it's just like, no, this is a thing of beauty to watch. Like, everybody's going. So, on the field, whenever you're a part of it, what is that like? Like, is it, like, what is it like? Paint me a picture.
It's tough. Like, and you do, like, that these are strong competitors. Like, rugby is at a place before, like, back in 2014, 2013, I'd say there was, like, a couple teams that are at the very top, and there wasn't much movement. Like, these were the core teams, and that was it. But now the game has grown so much, thankfully, that it is a competition amongst 12 teams. Every time you go, like, you just do not know what's going to happen. Like, it doesn't matter who won last, who lost, whatever. Like, it's an equal game amongst everyone. And so it is hard. And it's like, I think the biggest thing is that you have to go on the field knowing that you are going to win. And you can't let, someone's last tournament or someone's win record scare you or whatever, or someone's speed. You have to act as if you are the best and there is no one else you can be. Because if you don't have that mindset, like, it's like you don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
And That's something that I've always believed in. Like, not to say that, you don't give other teams the respect that they deserve, but you have to put yourself in a position that, you're going to come out on top. So.
No, and I think that's because it is. It's we always know when it comes to playing, it's psychological first, physical second.
Yeah.
That mentality sets up. And when you're going and chasing down someone like Emily Scarrett on a breakaway run, like
yeah. I mean, too, and like also like at this level, like everyone like physically is the same. Like you're not gonna get here by not like everyone is at the same level. It's that little 1% that separates you, and you have to tap into that. So.
And so, for you, what was that setup motivation? So I know you have it in terms of force of will, but is there something like when you get to that moment, in time, game time, where you're just like, all right, this is where I'm tapping into today. This is what I'm tapping into, and I'm gonna make my attack. I'm gonna make my breakaway. I'm gonna go 110 meters across the field for a try in the most impossible kind of try.
Yeah, I definitely like before a game I write out my goals and stuff and things that I want to make sure that I deliver for myself on the field. The biggest thing is just like I want to be the best I can be for my girls. Like, if rec sevens is just such a fast-paced game that if one person's off, like it does really affect the entire field. And so like for me, and I think if I can speak behalf of my team, is like we all want to be the very best we can be in that moment and every moment of that game for each other. And that's kind of how I think that we push through and often like, play really well and come out of like the most ridiculous scenarios. Like there's so many times where we're battling back and, we score a try in overtime after like 2 minutes or whatever, And so I think it's just like, we mostly do it for each other. The pain that you see in each other's faces, like at the end, if we don't make it, like nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to feel that. So we just try to fight for each other as much as we can, honestly. And that's kind of what gives me, and I think most of my team, that drive to keep going and make those tackles and make those runs and run even when it's burning, like, and we just try to pick each other up. Like I know there's times when, someone just gone on a really long run and I have to be there to make a tackle and I'm like, and someone's like, yo, like, can you go take that for me? Like, yeah, I got you. Or like the other way around, I'm like, I can't make it. Like, you gotta go. And they'll just be like, all right, don't worry. Like, just they'll take it. Like someone's gonna take all that shit on their back. Sorry, excuse me.
Yo, that's real. Again, it's real. And again, it is that it creates a force of will. That's you have to have that. You have to be able to use that. So, okay. So almost done with the origin story because now I get to go to the question that I really wanted to ask. But I wanted that we understood. And because once you guys have gotten that bronze and you guys have essentially etched yourself in history, like it's more than you just being an Olympian. You guys got the bronze medal. You guys are the first medalists in rugby in the Olympics. Yeah, in women's rugby in the Olympics.
Really cool. We were also the first Canadian team to medal because unfortunately our men's team in 2016 didn't qualify for the Olympics. So we were the first Canadian team to be in the Olympics and to medal, which was just unbelievable.
Wild. Yeah. That is wild beyond, like you've already etched yourself into Hall of Fame just by that factor alone. So, it is done. So it shall be written. So, okay, so now that the Olympics is done, and this is where it becomes interesting because I think this is whenever I started actually seeing you pop up a lot more. One thing that I will say that made it very interesting for me to talk with you was the way that you've been able to start branding. Obviously, your IG, I feel, is like your main mechanism, right? And it's where it seems like you tell your most story. For you, what is it that you are, what is kind of the message that you like try and make sure that you're showing within your sketches? Because you kind of bring a breadth. You bring it feels personal, it feels empowering, it feels inspirational. Like for you, is there a direct method of posting or direct purpose for post that you have?
It's not like, I think I definitely like to showcase, you know, what makes me happy and like kind of what just things that I do throughout the day and throughout my weeks and stuff that just kind of bring me joy. But there's a message that I try to deliver often is mostly, you know, towards young Black girls and boys, honestly, is that they can do absolutely anything they want and they don't have to be locked into a box. Like I feel a lot of, you know, young Black kids are these days. And I think that's my biggest message, is that you can be whoever you want to be and you can get anywhere you want. You just honestly have to work hard. It's work. It's not going to come easy. You do have to work, but it can happen. And I think that's something that I've always strived to share with, you know, my followers or people or whatever. So yeah. And also like, you know, people's bodies and stuff. I always remember getting bullied when I was younger for being strong and fit and, you know, looking like a boy, I guess, whatever. And, you know, and now I like to deliver the message that you can be strong, you can be fit, you can be sexy, you can be whatever, and, you know, still be great. You don't have to feel bad about yourself, or, you know, I feel like my strength, my body is my superpower. It's what's gotten me to where I am. Like, I'm so lucky to have like this genetic ability. And I feel like people get pushed down for looking different when it's honestly like a freaking superpower. Right. It's so awesome. So yeah.
No, I had that same conversation with Angie Elena with the Swiss team. Mm-hmm. Kind of has the same kind of concept that you have. And she said the same thing. It was like, look, you know, we're trying to be able to show that you can be woman, and there's multiple forms of being able to do it, and you should be proud of it, and you should be strong. Yeah. And you know, a lot of times it comes with it. Well, I think we always say controversy creates the most attention, mm-hmm. and the best way to do that is in things that will attract it, because of the fact that it makes the message powerful, because you preach what you act on what you preach. So I like that you have that instance. And then the other fact of it is, when it comes to young Black kids, like that one, you know, especially in a sport like rugby. Like, I remember whenever I first started doing rugby, and, you know, for what it's worth, like I like to call it the Tommy Boy rugby from the movie Tommy Boy, where it was like the perception of the rugby player was, yo, it's the crazy white boy who just likes to run into stuff, and yo, I don't even know why, because, yo, this is only a white folks sport. Like, it's just a reiterating factor. But then, like, you start to step out, and then you get, like, the fraternal network element that comes with this sport, which is super weird on its own, comparatively with other sports, I think. And then the next part is, then you go international, and it's like, yo, there's so many opportunities that can be taken, because of the fact that this fraternal network also works with this wide-ranging global reach. And it's like, yo, why aren't we tapping into that? Like, and not from just, you know, an athletic level, but also from an executive level, from a logistics level. Like, it feels like this is something that's, it's old, but it's young in its actions, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, rugby too is like one of the fastest growing sports in North America right now. So like, people are just like jumping onto it because it's so successful, and it's so much fun, and it's literally something that everyone can do, no matter your size, whatever. Like, male, female, like, everybody can play rugby. There's literally a spot for everyone, and that's one of the reasons why I love the game so much, because it's so inclusive. And yeah, it's just such a great game.
Great game, great culture. Like, it's real. And it again, you know, I've always been a big believer. All sports have their own element to it.
Yeah.
But I think whenever it comes to the combination, where it's not just, if I'm with my team and this is my people and that's solely it, and we work within this dynamic, it feels that regardless. And I want to ask, you know, when after you're playing your opponents, like, what's your interaction with these other women that you've played against? Like, do you have you created relationships with them, or is it kind of just like, you know, we play and then we kind of go our way? Like, how has that worked for you? How have you seen it go on the bigger scale?
Yeah, it is actually so funny because for sevens at least, like when we travel to tournaments, usually all the men from the series stay in one hotel and all the women from the series stay in one, so we see each other like throughout the entire week that before we actually play. So it's just so weird because we'll be like, you know, at lunch, we're like, oh hey, how's it going? Like, I'm gonna play you my first game, I hope you lose. Like, you know what I mean? You're like, but you're like, oh yeah, like how are you? And like, but it's all real, but it's just so funny because, you know, we're these, like, as soon as we go on the field, we're these competitors, and you know, we go neck and neck and we fight and we don't give an inch. But then we'll sit down and have a drink at the end of it, you know, and it's just a weird community. Like, it's so weird.
Like, yo, aren't I supposed to still kind of hate you after?
Yeah, I mean, like, I personally, I'm like, yo, you know what? It's good. I'll stay here. You stay over there. But like, so some of my teammates, a lot of my teammates have actually made a lot of connections with a lot of the other teams. And I think it's really great. It's just really not for me, but I do, I do think it's awesome. And it's cool that they, you know, cause now you have this connection with someone from another country, and, you know, if you ever need anything or if you're ever there, then they kind of hook you up. But it is a really cool environment. And I think it's pretty sweet.
You know, and so kind of even within that connection, as you've started building your brand, I've seen you in more and more articles, everything like that. Like, have you started looking at what it means for the future? Obviously, game to game, there's always something. But for you, now that you are more of a veteran in this, have you started kind of looking at, okay, this is what I want my legacy to be? You know what your legacy wants to be on the field, but do you know if you've kind of started looking at what you want your legacy to be kind of off field as well?
Yeah, like,
It's okay. You take your time. Take your time. The heat is on.
Oh my God. Well, I mean, okay, so I've obviously, my dream has always been to be an Olympian, but because of the way my life has gone, I also really want to help people. And so one of the biggest things that I love so much about where I am is I have a huge platform that's only getting bigger and bigger. And I love that because I can reach out to so many different kinds of people. And the one thing I wanted to do, you know, post rugby or post my career in sport is to just help like young individuals, youth kind of find their way and stay on a path, or find a path in general, and just, you know, not get sucked into whatever it is that's pulling, maybe where they live or who their friends are or whatever it is, what they don't have. I've always wanted to help people and, you know, give people the tools and the resources that I was so lucky enough to receive when I was, you know, in a very unstable position growing up. I actually just got accepted into school this morning.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Yo, all my applauses. Yo, congratulations.
Yeah, I got accepted into school this morning for a child and youth program. So yeah, it's just kind of like just building the little boxes of what I want to put my life towards post sport, I guess.
No, like, dude, I'm always in favor of everybody getting their education, but I especially love the fact whenever it's something that you know is going to lead to an impact larger than oneself. Mm-hmm. And to be able to say, like, you said child development? Yeah,
child and youth.
Child and youth, like, mm-hmm. Again, you're starting with the core. You're starting with the base, and that's so awesome. And it changes the perspective. So one way or another, big congratulations, Charity.
Thank you.
I'm so happy for you. I don't know if that means anything, but I'm so happy for you. So, but, you know, I love the fact, and so for you, kind of last questions, you know, like you said, you've had a lot of opportunity, and for you, it's been developing within this network. Like, how do you feel that you can kind of begin to maybe help, as you want to, be able to help others kind of interact into sort of the network that you've had, and kind of figure out how to be able to create that connection where they can be able to thrive and develop?
Well, I feel like the first thing and the biggest thing is just, you know, showing people that it's possible and showing people that there are resources out there. You just have to, you know, pretty much find them or kind of put yourself in a position where, like, you can come in contact with someone who can help you. And I think Right now I can't really do too much because I am, 100% committed to my current career. But I think the biggest thing that I'm doing right now to kind of set that up for the future is just putting it out there and showing my story and telling people that it is possible. And if I could help, one person by sharing my personal journey with the world, which can sometimes be a lot, but whatever, I'm so happy, so I just, for right now, it's almost really as much as I can possibly do because I can't really be where I want, because of my career. But I am always looking for ways to help and just ways to be there for my community and my friends. I always think about, if I had slipped through the cracks, like my whole life, like I can't believe sometimes I'm here, I'm living in my own place, like I have, I have a job, like I have a career, and it's so unbelievable to me. And there's so many people that I grew up with who are in a different place than I am, and some people who are in jail, some people who are dead, some people who are on drugs, all this stuff, and that could have been me, and that scares me, and it makes me want to help so many people, to show them that you don't have to go down that path. And like, there are so many people who really want to help. You just have to want to almost help yourself and to want to find those people. So, yeah.
That's real. Look, one thing that we do down here every year is called the HBCU Rugby Classic, Historically Black Colleges and Universities Rugby Classic. Yeah. And, try and get all these high schools, particularly, black and brown kids, coming down to be able to play. Anybody can play, but primarily it's, black and brown. So look, in one of these years, because we have to cancel it for this year for very obvious reasons. Yeah. But, if there's a chance to be able to get you down and to be able to talk with them, we're talking about, 200 high schoolers and college students and adults and whatever. But, I'd love to be able to have you come down, just kind of, talk to them, let them know what's up, tell your story a little bit more, and just get into interactions. So, because I think it means a lot, as with your story, as a woman, as a black woman, as a young black woman on the rise. Like, there's so much. Plus, clearly, you're blessed and highly favored. So we may as well try and see if we can tap into some of that over.
Yeah, I would love that for sure. If there's ever an opportunity, I'd totally be down.
No. Well, look, Charity, I really appreciate you taking the time. Thank you so much. Where can people find you? I always keep forgetting to tell people that. Where can people find you? And, if anything, maybe ask or at least be able to watch your journey.
Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram. My name is Charity Williams.
Come on, finish the full name. Finish the full name. Why are you cutting it off? Get the full title.
That is it. At Charity Williams is 2 S's. We actually, my team, one of my teammates, and like a couple of us actually made a team account that you can follow the team's journey, and we get like some sweet behind the scenes clips and stuff. It's called A 2020 Vision. It was supposed to be for the Olympics, but obviously now it's in 2021, whatever. But yes, follow me, and I'm always, answering questions. I love speaking to people. I love helping people out. So if anyone ever wants to, just send me a note, I will get back to you. Let's have a little conversation.
Awesome. Yo, thank you again so much.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you for having me. It was awesome.
Yo, again, how do you not love this? How do you not love these conversations? Like, Charity was awesome. Great. You could tell I had fun, and, we had a good time. You guys definitely check her out on her Instagram. Great follow over there. Look, we got even more. We got more coming up soon. We got even more interviews coming up over the course of the next several weeks and bringing in more information. But definitely go take a look back at our interviews that we've done in the past. Last week we had Saifuddin Safir from Morehouse College. Previous to that, we had Blaine Scully, USA Rugby, Leicester Tigers, Cardiff Blues. We had Chisa Ebelu on it with Pedal, getting you ready for world as an athlete in either economically or in academics. Angie Elena from Switzerland, Naya Tapper, USA Rugby Sevens, Raheem Vital and Mike Toussaint from Prairie View A&M, Phil Thiel, former USA Rugby, Dave Rhymes, USA High School All-American and Atlantis Rugby player, and Tiana and Kyle Granby of Roots Rugby. Guys, check them out. Great interviews, great listens, dropping gems all day. You guys don't want to miss any of it. It's here. Check it out. Share it with your friends. Let them know. I love giving this to you guys. I love getting to have these conversations, and I hope really you guys are enjoying it too. I just want to make sure you guys are getting value, knowing that there is so much in the network and freedom of opportunity that we have while we get to play this wonderful, or get to be a participant of this wonderful sport. But needless to say, I've said this a lot, needless to say, I hope you guys have a great week. I hope you have a great one. I'll check you guys out next week, Tuesday. Sorry, last week was late. You know, it was my birthday last week, Tuesday, and I ended up just posting out on Wednesday. But I have no more birthdays until next year, so we should be good. I can't wait to see you next week. You guys tune in. Check us out on GiftTime Rugby or HBC Rugby Classic, and definitely check out rugbyoutletmall.com. You guys have a great one. I'll talk to you later. Cheers.